Hello everybody, my name is Brian Wright, CEO of New Patient Group, and I want to discuss briefly one of the biggest mistakes dental professionals make from a communication perspective. And this is going to take it down a little bit different path than what you've heard before, because one of the things we're big on as a company is we're big on dealing with consumers and the biology of the brain. Everything we do inside a dental practice looks at a patient as a consumer. Their tendencies inside your practice are the exact same as they are when purchasing any other kind of item out in the marketplace. And unfortunately, for the dental profession, that means that a lot of things done inside the environment are actually the opposite of what gets consumers engaged to pick up the phone and call you, purchase from you whenever they're there, increase your referrals by referring other patients to you, etc. One of the things I want to talk to you today about, and this is going to be a series that's ongoing, is understanding and valuing. The first thing you need to do as a dental professional is understand that the consumer in your chair, in your practice, does not understand what you understand and therefore cannot value what it is you value. I'm big on analogies, so it'd be like you wanting to talk about sports with somebody and them not being a sports fan and they don't understand it, don't like it, don't value it, and you're kind of wasting your time, right? And unfortunately for the dental profession, and obviously we're in it and we value dentistry, you're in it, you value dentistry, but the facts are consumers are not in dentistry and they do not understand it and therefore do not value it. So one of the reasons we talk about on social media, which is another topic for another time, is that if you are making consistent posts about dentistry, you are losing money because consumers do not care. That type of post does not get them engaged, it does not get them to share it. And it certainly does not make it look like you're the fun place to be, and that's how social media works. It's the same thing inside your practice environment. You need to first have the mindset of, again, because the consumer does not understand and does not value what it is you value, and the statistics prove it, and the fact that Dental Economics does consistent studies that show only 50% of consumers even visit a dentist, and closer to 30% is a study that we've done that actually spend money at the dentist. So it's a very low number. And that proves the fact that they do not understand and therefore do not value it. Now, let's go a little bit and dive deeper into the biology of the brain. Every mind, whether it be yours, mine, or somebody else, goes through a 3-step process inside their head when making a purchasing decision or a referral, etc. The first one is they have to understand it. Whenever you're buying a flat screen TV, whenever you're buying a vehicle, whenever you're buying dentistry, the first thing that has to take place inside your mindset is you have to understand what it is that's being presented to you. And if you don't, it keeps you from moving on to step 2 from a biology of the brain perspective, is only at that time do you then value it. And that, therefore, if you do not get the consumer to understand what it is you understand in a very specific way, and that way is actually the opposite of how dental school teaches you how to speak. If you're a hygienist listening, the opposite of how hygiene school teaches you how to speak, dental assistants, etc., ortho assistants, etc., is the fact that it's actually the language that you have to use with consumers actually needs to be reversed compared to how they actually teach it in school in order for them to interpret the information in a way that gets them to first understand it. Now, at that time, once they understand it, the next move is they need to value what it is they're buying. And that can only take place if they first understand it. It's why it happens across the nation, and whether you're listening and want to admit it or not, most people in dentistry do admit this. It's why people will tell you, I can't afford that treatment, need to think about it, and meanwhile that night go and buy a $3,000 flat screen 4K television from Best Buy as an example. And they do that because they already understand that flat screen TV, and therefore they value the flat screen TV, and only at that time becomes the third process in a buying decision, and that is convincing yourself you can afford it. It's why usually everybody in life, at least one time in their life, has really, really wanted something, whether it be a car or something else, and you convince yourself you can afford it. Hey, I'm going to move some things around, this payment's low enough to fit into my budget, doesn't change my lifestyle. And it's because you first understood it, you then valued it, and then convinced yourself you can buy it. And that's the barrier inside dental practices, is many times patients who say they can't afford it actually can. The problem is from a biology perspective, step 1 and 2 was missed. And those are done via very specific ways, and it's something that unless you are an expert on consumer tendencies based on the biology of the brain, it's very hard to maximize the success of your practice, because that's what you're dealing with on a daily basis. You're dealing with a consumer in your chair that can purchase from you, somebody else, or nobody at all. And that's a problem that every type of business that is selling something to consumers deals with. And as competition in dentistry grows, it becomes more and more important for you to understand these tendencies in order to engage your patient base, your consumer base, to purchase and refer to you at the highest levels. Now, what it also does is it kind of does a little twist on who your competition really is. Obviously, as dentistry grows, that is your competition. We completely agree and get that. But there's also more competition, and that competition is anything that a consumer does understand and does value before even getting to your practice. So that means really anywhere they can choose to spend their disposable income that they understand and value, vehicle, flat screen TV, jewelry, vacations, etc., is your competition, whether you look at it that way or not, because they understand and they value it and therefore convince themselves they can afford it. So you are not only up against the dentist down the street, you are also up against anywhere the consumer can choose to spend their disposable income, and it is up to you to consistently learn new things on how to engage consumers to understand what it is you're offering, value what it is they're buying in order to convince themselves to purchase. And only at that time will you increase your treatment acceptance and, even more importantly, your financial conversion, which financial conversion will be a discussion for another video and podcast that we're doing in the future. So this series is going to go into how you get people to understand and value what it is you do at a better level. There's going to be multiple items that we discuss, and looking forward to coming up and producing this video series for you guys. And hope you enjoy it and hope it helps grow your practice.